seconded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thought
All
if we
those
couldn't do
in
that
favour?
one early.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Fletcher.
Right.
Right. Now, we do have a couple of other amendments, but I'll do them as we get to the issues that we're going to discuss. We're just having a discussion out there. So the next item is A3, which is the general rate differential for farms and lifestyles be retained. I don't think we need too much of a discussion on that, do we? Can I put that? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you.
There's those conflicts over.
A4.
Well done, Bill.
Took one for the team, Bill.
We'll take
You're a good boy, Bill.
1, 2, 3 and 4.
Should have called it division, Bill.
All right.
That's only to make you look good.
Right, any discussion on that? That is the Maori.
The Maoris.
Oh, the Maoris.
Try to say it with some meaning, you people.
Thank you. Well, I mean, you. Right, okay.
Wonder we're here.
Where are we? We have the Maori.
Back of the bus.
Rosa Parks.
Come on, Rosa.
Okay, it's Maori freehold land rates remission and postponement policy be amended to include the remissions. You can read those there. Is there any discussion on that? No discussion on that? Oh, sorry, Chris.
So, members, can I just get some clarification here? When we talk, I've asked this question before in workshops and in meetings, and it keeps cropping up. The very beginning there, Māori, lowercase freehold in the F and the L. That should be uppercase. It is Māori freehold land, capital M, F and L. And the reason that should be reading like that is it's defined. It is a clear classification, because we're not just dealing with land that is owned by Māori freehold. There's a very big difference. So that is the intent, I believe. Can I just have that clarified?
That is the intent, and I think that was one of the confusions when, as we said, when we explained that at the Have Your Says, people actually did understand that. So
Can we change that to read Māori freehold land, capital F, capital L then?
you happy with that, Andrew? Everybody? Okay.
Okay, so
That's the
that is the intent, and now it is corrected. Then how does, sitting under that, how does the 4 fit in that classification? Because what you're talking about under treaty settlement land is not Māori freehold land as defined by the or determined by the Māori Land Court. That's my understanding. So can we have a clear answer? The land that's being discussed under 4,
Exempt it from being Māori freehold.
and remember, it's treaty settlement land for commercial redress.
That's right.
How is that Māori freehold land as determined by the Māori Land Court?
Well, Andrew,
So
you and Beth, please.
The Council's Maori freehold land rates remission and postponement policy applies primarily to Maori freehold land, but we've also incorporated a couple of other elements within that already. So in some circumstances where the nature of the land is exactly the same in terms of its applicability to the policy and the impediments to its use, there is small scope for some of the remissions to apply to that. Item 4 seeks to deal with the unusual circumstances where there may be some land returned for commercial redress as general land, but where the same economic characteristics exist as do for Māori freehold land, and where it is used for wahitapu, marae or urupa. Have a rather small cost, but would allow us to deal with that minor anomaly. It's not MFL, no. These are things that we wouldn't be able to address with one of our other smaller remission policies. So it's purely a tidying and equity issue.
Okay, I'm looking at the policy, and you can't have 4 sitting the way it is. It has to stand out as a separate motion, because the way the motion reads is it relates to Māori freehold land. It's pretty clear when you read the policy, It is only about rates remissions on Māori freehold land. So if we are amending it, then it can only be amended by 1, 2 and 3, and probably Roman 4 sitting under the other numeral 4. I can't see how we can actually put the motions through in that way.
I might be able to help.
The 4 does not relate to Māori freehold land.
Well,
Oh, yes, just to take a call to respond to that. I'll just go back a bit. Māori Land Law 101 goes like this. The status of land in New Zealand is Māori freehold land, general land, and there's also Crown land, and then what you then default to is title investigations of customary land. Now, customary land, there's very little left, islands maybe, where an investigation is carried out to determine, before pre-European settlement, who had mana whenua over it. Late applications in the Māori Land Court are made. So there is the opportunity, firstly, for customary land, which is a very small opportunity. That is presently deemed to be Crown land, but the status of it can be overturned. The second issue there is Māori freehold land is one descriptor of Māori land, but there have been a number of iterations of amendments to the Māori Land Act where Māori land between 1967 and 1975 was, without any consultation with the owners, shifted from Māori freehold land to general land. That did not stop succession, and it did not stop the ownership, underlying ownership, which was in tenants in common, but in multiples. So the other description of Māori land in the Te Ture Whenua 1992, you just go to those descriptors, and they'll give you a fair, if you can go to the interpretation sections of that legislation, that'll give you a fair rendition of what we're talking about. Where I agree with Councillor Darby is that the embracing term of commercial redress properties can cause confusion. Okay, and the reason why that is because as land is transferred to Māori and it's momentary, where it is accepted it was stolen or whatever, and then under the treaty settlement it is handed back, right? And that's these maunga exchange programs. In and around all that land that is transferring, you've got to be very careful that there's wahi tapu. So wahi tapu might demonstrate an event where our people have buried their afterbirths, etc., and it is not yet being utilised in either the private, Crown or Māori estate for a short range of reasons. You would then move in the Māori Land Court for a status, they call it status declarations. So I think, I can't second guess your officials, but I think what they're endeavouring to do is to acknowledge in the transition of cultural and or commercial redress properties that in the big switch that has occurred, there's going to have to be greater investigation as you start to break out use and entitlements of what you're going to do with it. So you must apply the general rate strike to Māori land being moved into general purposes, subdivisions where value added, like everybody else should universally suffer the rate strike. But what that, and I seek some guidance from officials, what I think FOR endeavours to do is to ensure you can have that conversation, and that if but for wahi tapu, marae, urupa, that land is going to be used for any other use, it falls outside that protection mechanism. And that's what I think. And I'm sorry. It is quite a convoluted title systemic because of the way in which a lot of it was designed to free us of our land. But that's not our fault because we're at the back of the bus. Kia ora.
So, Madam Chair, look, it's not changing, so I'm just going to take the opportunity to speak to this. I appreciate that. And I don't bring a bigoted view on this at all, and I support the other parts of the recommendations. I don't support FOR, and I have raised this in workshops, and I'm being consistent. I have really great concern about bundling commercial redress land into this discussion about remissions. And I don't want to pain you all with repeating my arguments of before, but that is a very, very unique classification, and the treaty settlements, as you well know, contain commercial redress and cultural redress. There is opportunity with a commercial redress in that category for rates remission already. For marae, it's already there. You don't need to repeat it. But it's also there for natural conservation, and you can go and apply a QE2 covenant over it and get remission just like every other citizen, every other landowner who chooses to go down that track. I think we need to be very careful here. This is commercial redress. In the absence of hard cash, land equivalent to that cash is being transferred. These are being transferred to the commercial arms of the various iwi and hapu. So there's a big difference. So, Madam Chair, I won't go on, but I'd like to see a division on the 4, or if we can vote on 4 separately, because that is a very separate classification, and I will be supporting entirely the other parts of the recommendations that have been put forward here.
Okay. Member Type.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. Just to follow on from Member Tomahere, I think that, and picking up from what Councillor Darby's saying about commercial redress, what was already said earlier this morning by Mr Duncan was, it's a specification on and around that commercial redress where the land is set aside and protected for cultural, historical, natural conservation purposes, or because it is wāhi tapu or used for marae or uruwha. So it's like bundling the commercial redress, but these are specific areas within that commercial redress, and the forest was given as an example. So I just don't think you can package it like as commercial redress. It's commercial redress land that has specific land in it set aside for specific purposes, and I think that's got to be noted. I pick up that one way also to address the freehold lands title, as well as what Member Tomahere said, is after 3 you could say and also including 4.
Okay.
You know, and then that brings a separation between 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I just think, you know, it's not helpful to keep saying commercial redress when it's specific about the land that's within the commercial redress and has a status around that. That's not going to be sold off on the basis, or, you know, that sort of thing. It's going to have conservation, historic values, wāhi tapu, etc. So I think it's well worth supporting, Madam Chair. But I think you can separate between 3 and 4 by saying and also including 4.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Councillor Holt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I had a quick word with Councillor Darby when he first raised this. And, you know, respecting the points that Councillor Darby's made, he's talked quite a lot about this, and we've had a fairly fulsome discussion during the unitary plan process. So I just think we're all kind of saying the right thing, but it may be the wording that is leading people to be more concerned than perhaps we need to be. And I think the suggestion made by Member Taipere is probably very useful, because all we're doing is saying let's be aware that these are the caveats that allow for that rates postponement. However, normal rating applies for commercial redress land, and I think we just need to be clear, so that if that eases or assuages the concern, I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with it, because I mean we've got Woodhill, we've got Riverhead, we've got TRI, and there's probably others in the south exactly the same. They commercial, but there's only so much commercial that can be done, and the rest is actually, as you say, marae and urupa. Are you happy with that, Andrew and Beth? Okay. Any other discussion? Right, I'm going to put 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
I'll record against on 4 things.
Thank you. Carried. Thank you, councillors. Moving right on. The next one is, and the